including adding AB. And I believe AB is going to be a positive, productive player for them, and I don't think he's going to cause any issues. However, this looks like a disinterested football team as well, Jacoby. I want to give Drew Brees his credit because he's picking these boys apart. Now, going into this game, it was the two 40-plus-year-old quarterbacks who first and second in total touchdowns in the history of the league. Drew Brees was out there throwing darts. Drew Brees was out there throwing darts, picking them boys apart. He didn't even, Michael Thomas had just returned and didn't even have to have a phenomenal game. Alvin Kamara didn't have a big fantasy game. What about Taysom Hill, Jacoby? He came in, he was making plays too. Sean Payton, Drew Brees, excellent at the quarterback position. They dominated the Bucs.
Absolutely. I think Drew Brees completed passes to every single player in the Saints uniform. It just seemed like he was spreading the ball around, not just check down, throwing it downfield. He looked great. There was also the other side of the ball was dominant as well. We talked up the Bucs defense, but it was the New Orleans Saints defense that showed up yesterday, giving Brady all kinds of problems. They picked him off. They pressured him. They sacked him. They were in his kitchen all day, and he did not look like the same Tom Brady that we have seen. And it just reminded me of that Monday night game when they barely beat the Giants. And then we have this game where they barely score a point, where they have some serious questions they have to answer in Tampa Bay. What do you think happens next with them?
They go back to soul searching, and rightfully so, when the team that you come to up in the division have beaten you the way they've beaten you twice and made Tom Brady struggle to the point where 5 of his 7 interceptions all season are against the Saints. That's going to be an issue going forward, especially for the Bucs, who took a offensive lineman in the first round. And so when you get dominated by the defensive line the way they did, and the Saints was getting the pressure that they was getting, you can't do anything. You can't pass. You can't run. But you know what else Tom Brady was doing? Throwing interceptions. Looking immobile. Looking 40. You said it on the call earlier. After watching football all day and then watching him at night, it was like, okay.
Exactly. I watched
dog days in the NFL.
I watched Russell Wilson and Josh Allen move the pocket, get escape, throw on the run, and then I watched Tua and Kyler just run and make things happen, and then you watch Tom Brady. It's like, okay, I'm not saying you can't be a pocket passer and be successful in the NFL. Don't get me wrong. But if you are a pocket passer, to be successful, you need to be protected, and they were not protected. My guy, Trey Hendrickson, sacked Tom Brady on 3 straight snaps. 3 straight snaps. Now, one of them is a penalty, it didn't count, but they were just sacking him over and over and over again, and he just couldn't move. Like he used to be able to step up and slide to his left or slide to his right. He can't really do that the same anymore, and it was not ever more evident than it was last night against the New Orleans Saints, who I really felt like going into that game was the second best team in this matchup, and I'm leaving that game thinking it is a huge gap with the New Orleans Saints over Tampa Bay. A lot of other games to get to. Another marquee matchup from yesterday were the Seahawks traveling into the Bills, where I predicted that they would be upset. And guess what? Josh Allen went off over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 on the ground. What did you like from the Bills' offense?
Well, you said it, the development of a young quarterback that's becoming a star overnight and a franchise guy that a lot of people have faith in, not only his strong arm from the pocket, but as you see, his ability to move the pocket and rush for touchdowns as well. We talked about their duo of backs, it's Singletary and Moss. Moss got him another touchdown. We know about Diggs on the outside. He basically gets 100 yards per game. But having a quarterback that you can rely on, that's most of the battle for Buffalo, because their defense, in particular against a guy like Russell Wilson, was crucial. And they were able to turn him over 4 times. As their quarterback scored, 3 rushing, 3 passing, 1 rushing, 4 TDs.
Exactly. This Seahawks defense isn't just bad. They are historically bad. They give up 362 yards a game through the air. Again, 362 yards a game through the air. They do create pressure and sacks. That was nice. But look at where they rank. Look at where they rank. They're amongst the worst in the league. You cannot win like that. It just cannot happen because Russell Wilson didn't play that bad. He did have those terrible turnovers, but they put up 34 points. But the problem is the other team's going to put up 44 points, and they did get pressure. And see these plays right here? This is on a key possession. When they brought it to within 7 points, they got pressure. They brought Dunlap. They got Allen. They got Allen all flustered. They brought Adams. And what'd they do? McDermott, they were just like, we're going to throw screen passes. Oh, you guys are going to come at us and blitz in the whole second half? We're just going to dump a little screen here, dump a little screen there, 30-yard chunks, ball game. Now we're up by 2 possessions. You see all that pressure they're bringing? Just dump it and run. This was really, really smart from the Bills, who played great on both sides of the ball and do look like the best team in the AFC East right now.
Imagine being Bobby Wagner. You were one of the leaders of the Legion of Boom, and you add Jamal Adams, and you're one of the worst passing defenses in the whole NFL. That's just a unique transformation for a player. But for Russell, he's missing Carson. I know we talk a lot about the bigger name backs in the league, but he is a 3-down guy. They're able to get you 100 yards rushing and take a lot of pressure off Russell. So not having him back there also was something I think that the Bills took advantage of.
And he turned the ball over, but he turned the ball over in really weird ways. Like those 2 passes were bad, the ball security and not seeing the guy coming from the front side, not even the back side. It was an odd game for Russell, but it was a great game for the Bills, who further legitimized themselves as a true contender in the AFC. However, they do have some competition in the AFC East, but sometimes our show on ESPN switches networks into the Cardinals News Network. We picked the Cardinals as one of the teams that we were going to follow all season long. There's a huge matchup between 2 very dynamic and exciting quarterbacks, and it lived up to all the hype. It was eventually Tua and the Dolphins that would win this one just by a couple feet of a field goal. But Tua played great. Let's celebrate the young man from Alabama.
And when you're talking these 2 teams on a national stage, it's normally going deeper into the box score, because normally they don't make the cut based on the big-time national names. And so to have these 2 guys playing under center, the most important position in football, for Miami to basically, for public consumption, to have what's considered a no-name defense, and then all of a sudden have won 3 straight, 2 with their phenom rookie quarterback that's a lefty, one of the 40 lefties to start in the NFL's history at the position, and for him to have those dynamic runs like that in the 4th quarter just makes me wish we'd have drafted him. It just makes me wish that we would have drafted him.
I know. We'll discuss that in a second.
That's all it makes me do. It just makes me wish we would have drafted him.
This really should have gone into overtime. There was a 49-yard field goal that was missed short. But let's celebrate Kyler Murray, because when Kyler Murray tucks and runs, he is just so quick, so fast, so crafty with the jukes. He's impossible to take down. He ran for over 100 yards, and he's ran for over 60 yards in 6 games. Like, listen, I'm not going to overreact, but I'm going to overreact a little bit. He's challenging Lamar Jackson for the best running quarterback in the league. I'm not saying he's the best running quarterback in the league, but he is challenging Lamar Jackson for that title, because while he did lose this one, it was close, and Kyler Murray did everything that he needed to put his team in a position to win. Now, Jalen, it was a great day. It was a great weekend, to be honest with you, but there's something that we really need to discuss. It's going to be hard for you, okay? It's intervention time, Jalen Rose. It really is. Because something's happening in Michigan with your teams. The Michigan Wolverines football team, last week they lost to Michigan State. This week they lost to Indiana. And they didn't just lose, they got beat. And the Lions, they weren't even competitive against the Vikings. You need to end these emotional relationships, Jalen. You need to end these emotional relationships. It's time to say goodbye to your ties to these 2 teams. Defend your commitment to these 2 franchises that hurt you over and over and over again.
What team did you say first? I'm concussed from this weekend. Which team did you say first? Michigan. Okay. Indiana was ranked higher than us going into the game, so I want to make sure I give the young men and their coaching staff credit. But Jacoby, when you haven't lost to a team since 1987, and you lose to them after you just lost to your crosstown rival Michigan State, after they just lost to Rutgers, and then yesterday got the brakes beat off of them by Iowa, that becomes one of the worst losses I recall since probably Appalachian State. Maybe. And again, I don't want to take anything away from Indiana. Like, they're a Big Ten squad, and they've done a terrific job of building their football program. But there's a reason why we have the arrogance of Michigan. It's because we find ways to take care of business. Yeah, we don't always beat Ohio State. They've owned us the last 2 decades. In the last 10 years, Michigan State has, they fought back. And I want to give them credit for building their program. But everybody else, we supposed to be waxing. And when that's not happening, it hurts my heart. Now let's talk about the Lions.
Really not.
So let me get this right. We had big play Slay. He was all pro. We let him go. We draft the corner instead of having 2 really good corners, in our opinion. Matthew Stafford has been with us his entire career. He deserves better. I like the Staffords. But Tua, Justin, they were there. Justin is tall. He's in the pocket. He's 6'6". Tua, you seen him. Tua scrambled to the left. Evaded tacklers.
Jalen, it's time to let go. It's really time to let go of these 2 teams. They cause more hurt than joy in your life. It's time to let go. You know what? We're not doing this again next week. Next week, when both these teams lose again, we're not doing this again. Now it's time for you to look in the mirror and really put your happiness first. Put your mental health first. It's time to let go of